Hi, I'm Jeff Reinhardt, head strength and conditioning coach at Winona State University. Today we're going to talk about squatting 101, how to begin from the very basic. It doesn't matter what age the individual might be, this is something we want to begin with. It'll give you a great idea of how to really put all the progressions together to become a great back squatter. But before we become a great back squatter, first we got to go through a few things, and front squatting is a piece of it, but we'll do that one step at a time. The very first thing we're going to do is we're going to do some body weight squat with no weight whatsoever. I've got my assistant with me today. His name is Cole. He's going to help us out. We start from the ground up. So what we want to do is make sure, generally speaking, okay, we're going to start with our feet about shoulder width apart. Everyone's going to vary just a little bit depending on the femur lengths and some of those kinds of things, but as a good starting position, about shoulder width apart. We're going to make sure we're standing up nice and tall. We're going to have that chest out, shoulders back just a little bit. The head is going to stay neutral, okay? That means eyes are going to stay forward, maybe slightly up if anything, but we don't necessarily want them to look down. That head is an incredible thing. You get off, center of gravity will change significantly depending on where the head is positioned. So we want it again in a neutral position, maybe eyes slightly up. And to begin with, we want those arms straight out. That works as a good counterbalance for us. Okay. Before they descend, what we want to make sure is that we have their weight on their heels, so we'll do that by putting their hips back. We also want the back in a great position, good arch in that low back, and we want that body to stay in a really upright position as we begin. So the first one he's going to do, he's going to keep that weight on his heels, he's going to have his hips go back, and he's going to sit down nice and deep. Go ahead and go down. Okay, he's standing up nice and tall, there we go, go down once again. He's in a good position, okay, that's exactly how we would like it to look. We'll turn sideways for you so you can see it from that point of view. Again, feet about shoulder width, chest is out, okay, head is neutral, arms are straight out, hips are going to go back, he's going to have that weight on his heels, going to sit down. Good back position right there. Go down and hold it, okay, great back position right there. His body's in great alignment, he's going to stand up right now. Some of the things that you're going to see, some of the faults you'll see frequently occur with this. You're going to have the person who's going to end up rounding their back as they start going down, and they're going to be kind of rounded forward in that position. Okay. Another one that you're going to see is they're going to come up on their heels quite a bit. Okay, so they're going to go up on their toes, I should say, and their heels will come up. And another one you'll see is when their knees want to kind of bow in towards one another. Okay. We need to make sure that we fix all those issues before you move on to the next component, the next progression. The next progression, once we've mastered that, is we're going to go into the rack itself. I like using a rack because we can put the safety catches up. Here's the way I'd like to see it done. I like to have the bar in position. It doesn't have to be a 45-pound bar. It could be a lighter bar. Something that's going to give them some resistance, though. They're going to have to feel some of this. So he's going to have his arms straight out. Okay, this gives the idea or lets them know that this is where you need to support that. Right at the front deltoids need to be supporting that weight. Once again, we're going to go over. Feet are about shoulder width. Okay, standing up nice and tall, chest out, and we're going to have that head in about a neutral position, maybe slightly up. Weight needs to stay on those heels, so you're going to have those hips go back, and he's going to go down. Okay, he's going to hold it there. Okay, we can make any adjustments we need to. Okay, he's going to stand back up. Okay, once again, he's going to go down. You watch that bar straight, stays nice and straight, stays a good center of gravity on that body. He's going to go ahead and stand back up. The beauty of this is it shows instant feedback. So if he rounds his back or he starts coming forward, that bar is going to tell them instantly, go ahead and do that once, and the bar is going to fall. So it instantaneously tells them that they're out of position, okay? Which is a great thing. Again, keeping that weight fairly light. Go back under the bar. He's going to have his arms straight out again. Deltoids are holding that weight at all times. Good position with those feet. Head is always the same. Okay, hips back. Weight on those heels is going to sit down once again. Again, that is exactly how we want to do this. Go ahead and stand back up. Now, these first two things could take between a few minutes to several weeks. It just depends on each individual. So they need to master each one of these steps before they're going to move on to the next. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to bring the bar in the rack. We're going to move to a front squat now. Again, this is going to get them accustomed to good body positioning, where the weight should sit, how it should feel. So to do that, you're going to have your hands just outside of the shoulders. Okay, it's also a finished position when you're doing a clean. But the deltoids have to hold the weight. Sometimes you see people get in position where they're trying to vice grip the bar with their hands real hard, and then they got this bar floating out front. You cannot let them continue in that position. Go ahead and re-rack it. Okay? It needs to be those deltoids are holding that weight. He has his hands kind of open a little bit. His thumbs are loose. He's got those elbows nice and high. Okay? The weight is right here again. All right? Same thing. Feet shoulder width apart. Okay? Good chest position, good head position, good high elbows right now. We don't want those elbows pointing down. Okay? We do not want it here. Okay? We need to have them nice and high as we can. And again, that'll take a little bit of work for some. Some won't have that mobility to be able to do that right away. You need to keep working on that flexibility and that mobility of that shoulder and that wrist to be able to accomplish that. But make sure they can do that. Now he's going to have the same thing. He's going to put his hips back. He's going to sit down. He's going to stay in a nice straight position right here. Go ahead and stand back up. Again, that bar is traveling in almost perfect alignment. Okay, go ahead and go down. Back is in a great position. He's sitting down, great full range of motion. Go ahead and stand back up. Go ahead and rack it. Now, again, that could take from a little bit of time to multiple weeks to months for some. And that's just fine. You want to make sure that you teach this correctly, progression by progression, step by step. Now we're going to move to a back position, okay? Hands are going to be slightly wider on the bar for most people. Not everyone. It's just going to depend. We're going to have a high bar position, which means that bar is going to set up right here across the high part of the traps. Go ahead and show that position real quick. Okay, step on out. Okay, that's a high bar position. It sits right on the trap. We don't want sitting on the spine. Okay, we don't want it to sit on their cervical vertebra. So if they're sitting on that, it's not right. They might have to bring their hands in a little closer, kind of ball that up a little bit, ball that area up, kind of help scrunch, if you will, scrunch those traps together and get a little bit of a shelf for that to sit on. Go ahead and rack it real quick. We're going to show you another position we've seen in the past, which is a low bar position. It's a little more difficult. I'm not a fan of this as much as I used to be. I'm an old-time power lifter. This is how I used to squat all the time. But you can instantly tell the body's now got an angle to it because this bar needs to stay center of gravity. It's simple physics. Okay? If he stands up straight, the bar's going to fall back. So he's already got a lean to him that I don't want to have as an athlete. I don't want to have that as a coach. If you watch him descend, go ahead and go down once. He's still got to keep that bar. He does a nice job with it because he's accustomed to it. Go ahead and stand up. But again, there's just a forward lean, and the more weight we start putting on, the greater and greater that lean can become. Go ahead and re-rack it. So for that reason, I'm not 100% opposed to it. It's an okay position, but I'd much rather have our athletes particularly learning in a high bar position. If you look at all the great Olympic lifters, all those types of lifters, it keeps their body in just a much better position. I think for long term, particularly the stress on the low back, it reduces it to a much greater extent. Go ahead and step back out. Okay. Again, he's standing up nice and tall, good high bar position. Everything else is the same. Now they've been through progression upon progression about where to have their feet, where to have their body. All those things are in good position. The head's in good position. He's going to take a nice big breath. He's going to sit back. Weight is on the heels. Again, great back position right now. He's going to stand back up. You watch that bar, so in good alignment. Body's in great athletic type of an alignment, which is exactly where we want it to be. Sitting back down again. Again, weight is on the heels. The heels do not come up. You're not up on your toes. Stand back up. Stand up nice and strong. This is exactly where we want to be. Go ahead and rack it. Those are your progressions if you want to do a great back squat. Again, start basic. Make sure they master each step by step, and they'll become a great back squatter. For long term, it's going to be better for their strength, better for their mobility and flexibility, better for their athleticism, and really better for their health. That low back's going to be saved to a great extent. So if you have good luck as you kind of walk through those progressions, be patient, be technical, make sure that they're doing them correctly. But again, that's squatting 101.